It started a few weeks ago, when kids at our school began disappearing. At first, it was dismissed as runaways, but when my best friend Emily went missing, I knew something was wrong. Emily wasn't the type to just up and leave without telling anyone. Determined to find out what happened, I decided to stay late after school and investigate. The school had always given me the creeps after hours. The fluorescent lights flickered, and the hallways echoed with every step. As I wandered, I noticed some strange hum coming from the teacher's lounge. I approached the door, pressing my ear against it. The hum grew louder, and mixed with what sounded like voices speaking in a language I could not understand. My heart pounded as I slowly turned the doorknob, peeking inside. What I saw made my blood run cold. In the middle of the room stood three of our teachers, Mr. Thompson, Miss Garcia, and Miss Levin. But they looked different. Their eyes glowed sickly green, and their skin had an unnatural sheen. They were gathered around a strange pulsating device that seemed to be the source of the hum. I watched as they transformed, their human disguises melting away to reveal the grotesque alien forms. Long tentacle-like appendages emerged, and their mouths opened wide, revealing rows of sharp needle-like teeth. Backing away slowly, suddenly a noise from behind me. Someone else was in the hallways. I spun around to see Emily, but she looked different too. Her eyes were vacant, her movements jerky and unnatural. She was being led by another teacher, Mrs. Carter, who had the same eerie green glow in her eyes. Panicking, I ducked into the nearby classroom, hiding behind a desk. Through the crack in the door, I saw Mrs. Carter leading Emily into the teacher's lounge. The door closed behind them, and the hum grew louder. I had to do something. I crept out of the hiding spot and ran to the nearest fire alarm, pulling it with all my might. The alarm blared through the school, and I heard the teachers in the lounge scrambling. Using the chaos to my advantage, I rushed to the door and burst inside. What I saw was horrifying. The alien teachers had Emily on a table, their tentacles wrapping around her. Without thinking, I grabbed a chair and I swung at the device. In the center of the room, it shattered and the hum stopped. The aliens screamed in a high-pitched, ear-piercing wail, their forms flickering. Emily collapsed and I rushed to her side, pulling her away from the monstrous creatures. We stumbled out of the room. Somehow we made it outside. The night was eerily silent, and the school loomed behind us like a dark, sinister beast. Emily was dazed, but alive. We didn't stop running until we reached her house, banging on her door until her parents let us in. We tried to explain what happened, but no one believed us. The next day, the teachers were back to normal, their human disguises flawless. The school acted like nothing happened, and the disappearances continued. But I knew the truth. They were still there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for their next meal, and I was the only one who could stop them. The days that followed were a blur of fear and paranoia. I couldn't shake the image of those grotesque creatures out of my mind. I knew I had to find a way to expose them, but I had to be careful. The aliens were everywhere. Any wrong move could make me their next target. Emily and I devised a plan. We would gather evidence, document everything, and show it to someone who could help us. We started small, sneaking into the school after hours to plant cameras and record the teachers. Each night, we reviewed the footage, hoping to catch them in their true forms. One night, we finally got what we were looking for. The camera caught Mr. Thompson transforming, his human disguise melting away to reveal his alien self. He was speaking into a device, and though we couldn't understand the language, the urgency in his voice was clear. With this proof, we approached the local authorities. But when we handed over the footage, the reaction was chilling. They watched it, nodded, and then with a disturbingly calm demeanor, assured us that they would take care of it. I didn't trust them. The way their eyes seemed to linger on us for a moment too long made my skin crawl. Emily and I decided to go to higher-ups, reaching out to state and even federal authorities. But everywhere we turned, we were met with the same calm, unsettling response. It was clear that the infiltration was deeper than we thought. The aliens were not just at our school. They'd taken over the entire town, maybe even beyond. One evening, as I was heading home, I felt a presence behind me. I quickened my pace. The feeling of being watched grew stronger. When I turned a corner, I saw a shadowy figure following me. Panic surged through me, and I broke into a run. I didn't stop until I was at my house, slamming the door and locking it tight. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of our house made me jump. Every shadow seemed to move. The realization hit me. We were surrounded. Aliens had taken over everything, and there was no one left to trust. The next day at school, things were eerily normal. Every smile, every friendly gesture from the teachers were sinister. I could see through their mask, and I knew they were watching me. Emily and I tried to act like everything was fine, but the strain was getting to us. During lunch, Emily and I huddled in a corner, whispering our plans. We decided to gather one final piece of evidence, something undeniable that we could broadcast to the world. We would sneak into the teacher's lounge one last time, this time with a live streaming device. That night, we executed our plan. As we went through the darkened hallways, the school felt more oppressive than ever. We reached the lounge, and I took a deep breath before opening the door. To our horror, the room was filled with more aliens than we ever seen before. They were gathered around a large screen, displaying images of our towns and our school and our homes. One of them turned and saw us. Before we could react, it screeched, and the others turned to face us. Emily and I bolted, but they were faster. The tentacles wrapped around us, pulling us back to the lounge. I struggled, reaching for the live streaming device in my pocket, hoping to capture even a glimpse of what's happening. As they dragged us closer, the lead alien, the one that had been impersonating Mr. Thompson, leaned in. "You were brave," it hissed, its voice twisted of mockery of the human disguise. "But it was futile. We have already won." With a final-ditched effort, I hit the broadcast button. The device lifted up, capturing the aliens in all their horrifying glory. But it was too late. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was the screen broadcasting our capture to an audience that could no longer save us.